All right. All right. We'll have a moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hereby call this meeting of the Monongalia County Commission to order. It is Monday, December 30th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let the record reflect that all three commissioners are present. First item on the agenda is consent and approval with our administrator, Renetta McClure. Good morning, Renetta.
Hey, Renetta.
All right. There's no exonerations to approve this morning. Minutes from December 23rd, 2023. Vouchers, General County Fund, $50,436.87. Coal severance, $2,000. Camp Muffling, $5,708.50. Mason-Dixon Park, $421.44. Payroll, $1,172,554.96. Purchasing card vouchers, General County, $163.15. Camp Muffley, $6,230 for a voucher total of $1,237,514.92. You have budget revisions. There's actually none. Position vacancies for boards and authorities are listed on the website and fiduciary orders for December 30th, 2024.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as provided?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is introduction of new employee personnel changes. Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Mark.
I'd like to introduce you. Actually, neither of them are here. One of them you are aware of. The other one could not be here this morning. But incoming Sheriff Todd Forbes has appointed Chris Wolf as a full-time civilian administrative officer. That'll be effective January 1 of 2025. And also, Perry Palmer, the outgoing sheriff, will be a grant coordinator full-time, also beginning January 1, 2025.
Okay, handle these separately if it's okay. I'll
Sure.
move we approve Chris Wolf as a full-time civilian administrative officer effective January 1, 2025.
Okay. And I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, and this position is the position that will be vacated by Vance Lipscomb, correct?
Chris Wolf, yes.
Okay.
That is in charge of the civilian employees, yes.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next item.
Next, we have, I'd make a motion to approve Perry Palmer as full-time grants coordinator effective January 1, 2025.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that. And this is the position that is being vacated by the incoming sheriff.
Yes, that's correct.
Great.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much. Okay, do we have any other positions?
No, sir.
Okay, comments from the public. And I'll open our comments from the public section of the meeting. Anybody wishing to be heard, please raise their hand, come forward. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close comments from the public. Next item on the agenda is the 2024 year-end report. Anna, would you like to summarize it?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you guys go through and pick out things that you want to talk about? Because I don't want to summarize something that,
Certainly. Okay, Commissioner
What?
Arnett?
I thought you might want to start being present and also talking about the broadband first, and then we could go from there, or.
Okay, well, I'll skim through it real quick, and then you
Okay.
guys can add on.
Sure.
And again, the whole report was made available to the public. Our year's budget, consistent with previous years, was about a 5.61 increase over last year. We still were able to maintain our levy rate, which is the second lowest in the state. And one of the things that's most important as far as how this county is run, we have a fully funded contingency account. And halfway through the year already, we really have barely even touched that account. So it's remained that way. We've also allocated funding for a lot of capital projects. We did the preservation kitchen at the Mon County Center. We did a cabin at Chestnut Ridge Park, and we have numerous other renovations. But the big thing is we opened up our 911 center. So the capital projects are always something that's very important to me. We'll talk about the ARPA because we finished. There's been a flurry, and we do have one item to still address at the middle of the meeting. But it's been a busy year in regards to our ARPA dollars allocating those funds, and the near and dearest to my heart is the broadband initiative, which we will, as of today, have awarded 5 projects under that. And it's really been a busy year with the 2 RFPs that we put out and getting to actual projects that in the next year we'll be executing. So I'll stop there and let you guys jump in.
Sure. My big area that I'm real excited about is the commissioners allow me to work with the First Foundation Board to set up the regional and district meetings, and also the 3 of us were able to award $625,000 worth of grants this past year through the opioid funding from First Foundation. And I believe there were 18 nonprofits applied. We were able to award 12, and they were all, as I would call, boots on the ground that will have an immediate impact on the crisis that we're facing. That plus then just the amount of quality of life, whether it be at Milan Park that we were able to help, the tourism grant program that we continually fund, and the park system has really made a big difference in promoting our community for when other businesses are want to coming in. And I'll just throw out the last thing, working with MAP and the whole, okay, what is the official project that's?
East End building.
I know it changed. The East End, which I believe will be a game changer for the city of Morgantown.
Jeff?
Just a few things. We oversaw 2 successful elections in this calendar year without any problems or questions or any controversy, which is always a plus. We did award another authorization of funding for under our Orphan Road Grant Program, which is a unique program that we developed a few years ago and has been used a few times. We were able to help facilitate in coordination with the city of Morgantown the funding of the Grace Shelter, the former Bartlett House, which was an important, difficult process, but an important thing that we got together, and I'm proud of our relationship and our coordination with the city on many things, but especially with this project. We received the state county fire protection funds, and were able to set up a procedure to disperse those to the volunteer fire departments and the city of Morgantown Fire Department, and set up a contingency fund for that for major projects, which has already been utilized to repair the ladder truck for River Road, I believe it was. And then Scotts Run. Okay. And then we worked on and published a new HR handbook. We've been without an HR department forever, and Sean and Renetta especially have worked very hard with a consultant that we've hired to move more in the direction of having some more protocol and control and consistency and conformity with our HR dealing with employees in each department, and that was a good, nice first step to get going. And as has been mentioned before, and I'll point it out again, that proud that our administrator, Renetta McClure, was named Administrator of the Year by the County Associations this year, so very well-deserved recognition for her, and one of our shining achievements for the year.
Okay. And just a couple other things. You mentioned the broadband. I'm not a broadband. You mentioned the Orphan Road grant program, and something as a result, as we tie up these ARPA grants is going forward in the year. We had talked about having a orphan broadband project
Right.
fund that we would make available and possibly utilize some of the interest that we've gained from our ARPA account for that end. So, and then I thank you for mentioning Renetta. That was one of the things I figured one of you would mention. I also want to mention this county received the County of the Year from the County Commission Association of West Virginia. So that's a broad indictment of how this county is run in comparison to the rest of the counties in the state. And this accomplishment report is just single-spaced and it's 3 pages long. So there's a lot. I know we're probably missing a few things, but there's a lot of collaboration and coordination. You talk about work with MAP. Russ, we have a group with the MMPO that Russ has been instrumental in work now with his position on the MMPO that's assigned a grant, $54 million grant to the Department of Highways so that we can work in collaboration with the Department of Highways to get Exit 155 done. So just a lot. And I know we're probably leaving a bunch of stuff out, but it's been a very good year, and congratulations to everybody that's worked together to all the, in regards to all these projects. So do we want to accept the report? Go ahead and do a motion to accept the
Move to
report.
accept the report as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the 2024 American Rescue Plan Act funding review. And this was we wanted to bring this forward as an additional item because 12/31/24 is a significant date. All the funding for ARPA has to be obligated. As I indicated, we'll be doing one more, taking up one more project in a couple minutes. But overall, of the $20,513,893,000, we did get another $100,000 for LATC, which is the Local and Tribal Consistency Fund. That's ARPA related, so we lumped that in with ARPA. But out of that $20.7 million, we were able to leverage $46,854,000 worth of projects by bringing our dollars to the table and bringing in people that wanted to do projects with us. We had, of the project values, 47% of them were water and sewer projects, 46% were broadband projects, and then we had about 7% was an electric project we did, and we had a real small contribution to the rail trails that was used from our revenue replacement dollars. When that $20 million first came through, there wasn't a lot of direction as to how to spend it. So we waited until we got direction, and we stuck with the water, sewer, and broadband that the bill was originally intended for. Over time, there was allowances for other things to be used. For instance, they had a revenue replacement factor that it was a very complicated formula, but if you went in and did this formula based off of where you were 3 years prior to COVID, you were able to project your revenue and where you were, and then project a revenue replacement number. And our number was about 3.6 million out of our 20 million. Well, that formula was so complicated, the federal government just changed it to a categorical $10 million exclusion. So you could take $10 million of your dollars and spend it on anything you wanted, which helped a lot of communities because they just went out and spent it and they didn't wait for the direction. But we stuck with water, sewer, and broadband. So even with those revenue replacement dollars at $3.6 million, we spent most of that on an electric project to upgrade the electric in the industrial park, which was instrumental in bringing about Mountaintop Beverage. The only dollars that we spent on something that wasn't water, sewer, or broadband related was a $30,000 contribution to the rail trails. Mon River Trails Conservancy. So we really stuck to that. So as the amount funded, it was evenly 42 42% for broadband, 42% for water and sewer. As I indicated, we had 19 water and sewer projects. Little Creek PSD had 2 projects, Minister Run had 1, Clay Battelle PSD had 9 projects. The Botanical Garden, which was running sewer to their new building, was 1 project. And then we had 4 projects with MUB, the Pompano Run project, the Industrial Park sewage infrastructure, which also was instrumental in bringing about Mountaintop Beverage, the Chaplain Hill water extension, and the Chaplain Hill sewer extension. And then we have 2 small projects with Westover and Smart Star City. And then the other projects was the industrial project at the park, which I mentioned, in the MRTC. As far as our broadband project, we will have 5 deployment projects after today. That's 5 projects in our county that are deploying broadband to different areas of our county. And we had the other 3 projects were our plan to our RFP and all the effort that we went to actually come up with a comprehensive plan, and then the follow-on execution, and then the last agreement we had with TAF. So it's been a busy year, and we've really did a good job of making sure that we made the best use of those dollars. 2 of those projects we mentioned, the 2 projects, the MUB project in the industrial park and the MUB project and the Mon Power project in the industrial park. Both of those are revenue generating projects. The revenue comes back, so we get revenue up into the amount we put into the project. So that's a potential of $6.2 million coming back. At this time, those dollars are spent paying down the bonds of the industrial park. And then just because we were so diligent about how we spent these dollars, we've accumulated about $1.4 million in interest for the dollars sitting in our account till we utilize them. So overall, it's been a pretty good, if you take all of that, look at the infrastructure that we invested in, it's almost impossible to calculate the induced or indirect benefit that our county will receive from those dollars. But just overall, looking at the overall project number from $46 million from a $20 million investment, I think we did a good job on that. So, anything else?
I think we got it covered.
Thank you.
All right. Next, grants. We have no grants. Okay, correspondence.
None.
Okay. Unfinished business, none. New business. Consideration of an award in response to RFP 2024 MCC 005 expansion of broadband. We have a guest, Allison Ellis from Frontier, who's joining us via Teams. This agreement, we have a draft of an agreement. It's pretty final. That we want to award to Frontier. Allison, did you want to talk about your project?
Sure. First off, thanks for having me today. Very much appreciate it. I'm Allison Ellis. I'm SVP of Business Development and Fiber Partnerships for Frontier. First, I just do want to say we are very appreciative of being selected as the RFP winner this second round. As the commission knows, we participated in the first round and we're disappointed to have not had our project selected, but we do think that in the second RFP, we've submitted a really good project. It proposes to provide service to 80 unserved and underserved locations. And we do intend to complement the investment by the county of the ARPA funds with additional investment by Frontier to expand availability to even more locations in and around the project area. So we have worked closely with the selection team. It's been very collaborative. Commissioner, as you said, we're very close to finalizing the agreement. I think all of the core terms are there. We're now just shaping up some of the attachments. But otherwise, we're very pleased with how the process has unfolded, and we thank everyone in the county for their hard work on this.
In this project, the overall cost is $9,553,519. The contribution by Frontier, they're contributing 17% of that, and the county is contributing the other 83%. So our contribution out of ARPA dollars is $791,421. As Allison indicated, there were about 74 unserved addresses, and there's about 6 underserved addresses, and then on path is another 171. So that's another 171 customers that will have another option. So overall, the possible addresses affected is 251, and they'll be laying about 11 miles of fiber. The project area is in the Gladesville Road, Halleck Road area. So from Gladesville Road over to Halleck, that's where the project expands. With this, we've now able to have touched each corner of our county. So Allison, I want to thank you for all your efforts in pulling together a contract. I know you guys are really close. I think the biggest thing is just finalizing the Exhibit C, which is the service area and the phasing, which I believe that you and Chris and the group will have that tidied up today, tomorrow, at least some language that says when you will. The motion, based off of that, the motion that our legal counsel had given me is, I would suggest a motion to give the president approval and authority to sign before 11:59 p.m. on 12/31/24, an agreement that is substantially similar to what is presented. And we have the draft that's in the folder right now. And as I indicated, the only real thing that's going to change is there was a question about the performance bond, and Allison, I understand we agree to that. It's going to be the level of what we're contributing to the project. And then the last thing was that Exhibit C, which was the phasing. And those are the only 2 areas. Everything else is worked out. So that agreement is in the project file. But I would ask for your approval to be able to sign it by midnight tomorrow night on behalf of the commission once we finalize those 2 items.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any other further discussion? No. Allison, anything else?
I think you covered it.
No, just thank you. We're looking forward to connecting these locations with fiber. It's, the premier technology available, and we are very confident that the residents who order our service are going to be extremely pleased with its performance and capabilities.
And I do want to let you know, Allison, that, as we evaluated the proposals, we had more money available than what you were asking for this project. So, but I do want to let you know that you guys put forth a very good proposal. We did check with a few residents that actually as I did my drive-throughs, we checked with a few residents that were actually utilizing your service, and everybody we talked to expressed how pleased they were with the service that Frontier was providing. Frontier Fiber was providing our citizens. So I know that it's not to talk about things that are uncomfortable, but you guys have really kind of changed the direction, or changed the course of what your brand means in West Virginia. Just in the last year, from the time that you've submitted your first proposal to this time. So I really appreciate your efforts in that regard, and I want to commend Frontier for doing a good job in our community to connect our citizens, and not only just connecting them, but providing a good product that is, we're getting compliments in regards to the pricing, the service, the reliability. So I really appreciate all your efforts.
Well, thank you very much. We have worked very hard over the last 3 years to really improve our reputation with customers. We're doing that by delivering a superior product. So it's very nice to hear that you're hearing feedback in the community that aligns with, all the hard work that we have done. We did, Commissioner, work on a joint press release. Once this is signed, our plan would be to release it sometime in the beginning of January, maybe the first week or so.
Okay, and certainly whenever you're getting ready to, after you do the final engineering, you're ready to actually put shovels in the ground, commission will be, eager to, participate in some sort of groundbreaking at that time too.
Absolutely, and I do just want to offer in the future, if you'd like to have somebody come and participate in a public meeting to talk to the community about what's happening, we're very prepared to do that. We can do it obviously in person or over Zoom. I don't know how widely attended your meetings are. Sometimes in communities when they publicize that it's going to be specifically about the broadband expansion project, they can get a little more, public participation. So we're happy to do that.
We'll certainly take you up on that. And a lot of times, especially since you'll be, the areas that you'll be serving, there's a senior and community center there. Maybe we would arrange something there, a public meeting, so that people can come and hear about the services that are made available. And we certainly, in this meeting or in another forum like that, so we appreciate your participation. So anyhow, happy New Year, and I look forward to having the final contract and sending it over to you for after I've signed it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you.
I'm going to sign off.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next item is to consider adopting a resolution in support of the Industrial Access Road Grant Program application for the Monongalia County Development Authority to be submitted on behalf of the Mylan Park Foundation. If I have a motion to approve the IR grant program application as presented, then we'll go ahead and have individuals come up and talk about it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, would you like to come up and address the application?
Yes, and thank you. Russ Rogerson with the Morgantown Area Partnership and the Mon County Development Authority. I have with me today Ron Justice representing Mylan Park today. I always got to check which organization representing, and then Terry Cutright, who's working with Mylan, who actually put the application together. First of all, just for the audience's benefit, the West Virginia Industrial Access Road Program is a long-standing program between the DOH and the Department of Development at the state level. In fact, will provide to each county $400,000 per fiscal year on a road project to serve industrial growth in that community. We have been using this in Mon County for a number of years. In fact, I think pretty much all the roads in Chaplain Hill Business Park have been constructed with these grants. And so it's a great little program, comes in very helpful and handy as we're trying to bring in more jobs and investment. In the last couple of years, the strong emphasis and the growth of tourism as a focus in our state really gave the governor impetus to open up the economic development programs to tourism projects as well. And as you know, the success of tourism in our state and our community has grown leaps and bounds. One of the largest players in that tourism growth has been the multiple projects we have at Mylan Park. So I'll let Ron talk more about that particular project, but it's really, this is our first tourism-based industrial access road grant request. So we're excited about getting this approved today and down to the state and continue to improve the roads and access to those great programs and services out to Mylan Park. So with that, I'm going to introduce Ron Justice to tell you specifically what this is going to help out with.
Thanks, Russ. I'll try to just be quick about it. You all, I think we were here a couple of years ago talking about the KOA campground, which is a new $12 million investment. Mayor Lewis and I were just talking before the meeting. That's going to be, she is familiar with campgrounds. So a really great opportunity for us here in Mon County. It's going to be one of the largest campgrounds in the state of West Virginia. We were fortunate that we got support from the governor's office, which has really enabled us to move this forward. Will be completed likely around June the 1st is the target date. I know some of you have been out to see the progress, and they made great progress. What this will do, we were fortunate to be able to get a congressionally directed spending grant from Senator Manchin, and a match. And this layers on that we can take the road from Chaplain Hill and go all the way to the top of the hill, beyond the campground, beyond the county building, with an entire new road project. So, and as Mayor Lewis can tell you, when you're navigating with these larger motorhomes, you can't go on a 20-foot road to navigate safely. So this will give us the opportunity to go from Chaplain Hill to the top of the hill there above the county building. So that way we can get these RVs in and out in a very safe manner with a new road. They will be state specs, so we would have to follow all that. I think the one thing that's different with this one that Russ, in the past, the Development Authority has fronted the money and then gotten reimbursed, and this one, Milan Park, would be fronting the money and getting reimbursed. So even though the Development Authority is obviously the right place to place this, they would not be expending money up front. It would be Milan Park. So basically, it would be a state road coming right by the county building, right by the Ruby Center from Chaplain Hill into the KOA. And if you all have any questions, I don't know, I think it's a 40-foot right-of-way. I mean, it has to be to state specs, so.
I'm sure you're going to keep the big curve in it.
We actually, in the design, that's gonna have a center island that, where you can come in and go
Right.
out and you wouldn't be
Good.
crossing over, so.
Great.
I'm not an engineer, that's the layman's
make-
term
I
of it,
know, I
yes.
really-
Yes, having two of those meet on that curve would not be.
Yes,
best.
would be a problem.
But
Great.
if you all have any questions, that's
No.
kind of it in a nutshell.
No, I appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Ron. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations. All right, consideration of amendment to the American Rescue Plan subrecipient agreement with the City of Westover to extend the period of performance to December 31, 2025. This, when we did the subrecipient agreements, the last batch, we left this one off because at that time, we thought we were going to fund with other dollars. But we will be funding this with LATC funding that we also had to obligate by the end of the year. So we do need that agreement extended. So that's why we're doing this one at this time. So,
Move to extend?
Second?
okay, any discussion?
No.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any other agenda items?
No, sir.
New business. Okay, reports from elected officials and/or department supervisors.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Alex.
Alex Haller, Control Officer. As we're almost to the end of the year, I just want to come up here and give you guys some numbers. So for the road crew, this year in 2024, they picked up 32,740 pounds of litter along the roadways. That's a decrease of about 800 pounds from last year, so it's going down, but not by much. They were able to pick 130 actual miles. That equates to 260 because they're doing both sides of the roadway. That's down 35 miles from last year, but they also went from a staff of 3 to a staff of 2. So really, I mean, I'm sure if you projected those numbers out, they're doing significantly more. They collected 155 tires from the roadway. That is up considerably from 87 in 2023. Recycling, early last week, we surpassed, or I guess late the week before, we surpassed 1 million pounds there of recycling this year. And as of Thursday, we are at 1,014,261 pounds. Looking at those numbers, we'll be within plus or minus 3,000 compared to last year. So about the same. In terms of citations and things we've done in magistrate court, we have maintained our 100% conviction rate. So every ticket I write or any summons that I issue, we are getting a guilty verdict there. We did have one case that was dismissed following a deferred adjudication where the property owner was able to get everything remediated and then it was ultimately dismissed. And then for abandoned dilapidated properties. Obviously, we have seen a lot of success since April in getting a lot of these properties rehabilitated or demolished. So we'll keep working towards that. I just wanted to give out a couple thank yous. The first one is to Colleen, who is not here, is on vacation. Colleen does a lot for my office and the ADP board specifically. Anytime we need to mail anything out, she's the one who's doing it, getting things organized for the meetings. She's a fantastic resource. I'd like to thank the city of Morgantown and the DEP. If you all recall, I think late in 2023, they changed tire amnesty from like a once a year, twice a year type deal to actually having it every month. Well, working with Megan Dealey from the City of Morgantown Public Works and Kelly Cook from the DEP, they've actually leave that trailer on City of Morgantown, their motor pool over on Mississippi Street. So kind of as needed, our road crew is able to go out and just get rid of the tires that we collect, which has been super helpful for us because in the past, they've just kind of hung out in the building until Tire Amnesty Day. I'd also like to thank MUB. So with Hazardous Household Materials Day, it's usually on a Saturday, they've allowed us this year to come during the week before to get rid of anything that the road crew has collected, like the Galaxy gas cans, things like that. So it saves us from having to bring somebody in on a Saturday to drive everything over there, and they accept that free of charge for us. I would like to thank as well Corporal Aaron Clevenger from the West Virginia DNR. There are a lot of times that I go places that are not the safest, and Corporal Clevenger, no matter when I call him, he's willing to come out and to help me out with something, or if I'm confused on where to go forward, I can call him or the prosecutor's office, and they have both been extremely helpful this past year and back into last year. I'd like to thank the 911 dispatchers. Last year, we were able to get on the radio system with them, and it gives me a lot of peace of mind to know that someone else knows where I am throughout the day. And also, if I need help, they're able to coordinate that. And then lastly, all of the volunteers on our ADP board, they dedicate a lot of their free time to this board without any compensation. They volunteer to do, a few months ago, we had a subcommittee meeting to look into the West Virginia DEP's DLAP program. So a few of them volunteered to join a Teams meeting again on their own time. So just want to bring all you guys those numbers and publicly say my thanks, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Do we want to add just that the recycling center will be closed tomorrow and Wednesday? And we'll post that, but I know you've done that, and I noticed all the signs, and I appreciate that. And I didn't think we had the problem this past week as we've had in the past.
Not nearly as bad, just
Yeah.
a couple bags. So
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other elected officials and/or department supervisors? Okay, reports from county commissioners. Commissioner Arnett?
Oh, not much. We've covered pretty much everything today. I'd just like to thank everyone for all their work during this year. It's been a busy and hard year, and we've gotten a lot accomplished. We got a lot more to go next year. So with that, I'll pass it along to Mr. Bloom.
Again, just very excited. This was an exceptionally good year for Monongalia County and residents, and next year, I think the big thing that I see a real change that's going to happen is with Earl Gaskins as the DOH district director here, and there will be changes like at Chaplain Hill. Theoretically, we'll have temporary lights by the summer. We have the Westover, Holland Avenue. We have Granville with their lights. So there's a lot going to happen on the DOH side, and I look forward to it next year, and wish everyone a happy and healthy New Year.
Okay, thank you, Tom. It's been a short agenda since our last meeting, but the three commissioners did go on the radio last Friday and do, I think we skipped last year.
Yeah.
But we try to do that every year, and I appreciate Dave Wilson giving us the opportunity to come in and just answer any questions, take any questions from the public, and really just kind of relay our thoughts on the previous year. Today is a short meeting. We do have some staff reports with our administrator after. Again, congratulations on all of our staff and the commission on another year of success. I do want to bring up one thing. Ron Justice is retiring from WVU, and I don't think we're going to see the last of Ron, but I do want to thank Ron for all of his work in being that contact and that conduit through WVU and through a lot of things. Ron is unequivocally the most important non-elected individual in this county in regards to pushing and driving economic development. And I really want to thank you for all your work. Ron, Russ, would you like to say anything?
Absolutely. Ron, I guess it's easier to say what he's not involved in our community. I kind of alluded to that earlier, and just people don't realize the amount of work that goes behind the scenes and the coordination and collaboration. And the partnership, that's what we were brought together to do. And Ron's been an absolutely critical partner in that whole process on a daily basis. So the good news is I don't think he's going anywhere. So we're excited to continue our relationship, but definitely all the years of service at WVU and to this community deserve a great deal of recognition. So congratulations on entering the good life of retirement, and keep working.
Sure, I know, Ron, you're a man of few words.
So, I listened to you all the other day on the radio show, and there's so many good things going on and good work that you all have done. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of good people. I owe everything to WVU. They've given me the opportunity almost 40 years. So it will in 1985, in fact. So you look back now, and I don't look at it as retire. I don't do anything else, so I kind of look at it as refire versus retire. So I'll be doing a lot of things. You'll see me at the MPO and other things. I'll be doing some work for WVU, but I think it's going to be a really exciting time for me, and I appreciate you all in everything that you do. And not saying I'm ancient, but I can remember this. I look at you all and you have those computers in front of you. Tom and I were on city council together. And the way it worked back then is if someone had a complaint, they'd call you on your home phone because we didn't have cell phones.
Right.
And we had these triplicate, remember those, Tom? You'd fill out a form.
Yeah.
And then we would have to hand deliver those forms
Yes.
to the city manager. We would keep one. He would send to the department head. We didn't have email and didn't have, it's so much better today as the world has evolved to be in leadership but you cherish those times. I remember meeting with Tom over on Sherman Avenue. We were on city council and again, you couldn't just hit a button and talk to someone. You had to go to their house or call them on their home phone or interrupt dinner or whatever. But it was a really good time, and I was very fortunate in 1991 through encouragement from actually a professor of mine to get involved in city government, and that really got me involved in a lot of things. One of my favorite stories about WVU, changes happen, when I started working at WVU, the drinking age was 18 years old, and things were a whole lot different. Remember, Tom, they had kegs at keg parties and all that. Now you have to do it a different way. So anyway.
I was at your house.
Yeah, at my house. One of the things that we did, and think about this, the students used to recruit to fraternities, and it was all drinking beer. So, you go to a party and they give you beer. Well, they outlawed that. You can't do that. In order to rush now, there was no alcohol. So a student comes back, and he had worked at Myrtle Beach all summer, and he said, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a concert on. I've got this band. I know this guy, and he'll come and play. And we'll invite all the students down, and we can give them information about the fraternities, and it'll be great. So we booked this band, and literally 2 people showed up. The students protested. 2 people showed up. Now that band, they were called Hootie and the Blowfish. So to make it worse, so we have 2 people show up, and they play. So afterward, they have a van, old blue van sitting up on Maiden Lane. This guy comes in my office. It's Darius Rucker. He says, I got a dead battery. I said, well, I don't know what to do. But Walmart had just opened. So he said, I don't have any money. So I said, well, I'll take you to Walmart. So he and I went to Walmart, picked up a battery, came back, put it in his van so they could get back to South Carolina. And he said, now I'll mail you a check, because you couldn't just go get cash. Or he said, I can mail you a check, which I felt, okay, this guy ain't gonna mail me a check. But okay, we got him a battery, it was $50-some. And sure enough, about a week later, I get this check from Darius Rucker. Thank you very much. But, at that time, we didn't know, but how things change and just how, but that was always in one of my favorite stories that, hey, I didn't know that when this guy walked in and needed a battery that I watched him the other night on some awards show, but I'm like, I remember when he was sitting in my office and his van needed a battery and we went to Walmart. So it's been a great run, and I appreciate working with you all and look forward to working with you some more. I'm not going anywhere, but thank you all for your kind words, and appreciate we're working with all of you. So
You just want to hang up there for a second, Ron. I'm sure he remembers you. Jeff, did you want to say anything, or?
Well, I worked with Ron with the fraternities in 91 to 95 down there in that little office in the back of the mountain layer. I remember he'd come and yell at us and tell us how we're doing things wrong and how we should do it better, and we did. We listened and we moved on, so I feel like I've known Ron most of my
it
life.
was fun, and some of that stuff is confidential in files, so anything that happened then, we don't talk about everyone involved. But it was Trick Bingaman, you could remember him, I think he was in your fraternity, that recommended Darius Rucker and
okay.
Chuck Steele. And
They were a little,
yeah.
slightly before my
But
time, 1
just
or
a little
2
before
years,
you,
but
but,
yeah.
yeah.
Chuck's
So-
still down in Clarksburg,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, but it's been a privilege. I've worked with so many great people over the years, and mentors, I just can't name them all, and it's been wonderful. And thinking of those relationships, that's what you can take with you, is all those relationships. So I'm looking forward to keep working. And
The
you
big
mentioned East
story I'll
End.
remember always is when you were mayor of Morgantown, with the city of Morgantown, and we had an infamous person who was brilliant, but he sometimes lost his way, Milt Cohen. And he'd show up in his military outfit. And people would come just to watch him get thrown out. And you would have to deal with him, and I used to smile because I wasn't the mayor, and I'd just sit back and watch it. Every week, he would come and do something different, and how you reacted. But that's when they didn't have TV or anything, but we would be packed to see what he would do next and so on. But
Well,
I do want to say, I appreciate.
He was a dear friend, Tom. And so he would be different. So what would happen?
But it was
He would
volatile
come
back
and he
then.
could put on a show at commission
Yes.
or at council meeting, but Wednesday morning, he'd show up at my office.
Yeah.
In the mountain lair.
Yeah.
Want to have coffee and sit down. And we shared that, many, and in fact, he lived over
Right.
near where Dan Boral
He's
Ross
90
Street.
years old, drove
Yeah,
by
drove a
on the wrong
bicycle.
side of the road.
Yeah.
Going up
But,
Grand
and we had a
Street.
great relationship, but I think sometimes he would just test you how
Oh,
far
yeah.
you could push you. But, yeah, there's a lot of those stories.
But I do want to also say, through all these years, when I call, many people don't like to respond. And you've always, every time I've called, had a question, concern, you were the one who called me back all the time, and really meant a lot to the commission because we were able to get the answers to move forward. And I think you're an integral part of, in the background, like you said, probably the most important non-elected official that we've seen in years, and we look forward to working with you.
Well, I look forward to it, and I think the key thing is sometimes you got to put relationships all the time above issues.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, even though if you disagree on an issue, you can still work through things. And I'll give you one more example. There's this guy named Jeff Koch, I think was his name. He was a cartoonist for the Dominion Post. I have it hanging on my wall at my home. So, Tom, we're on city council, and he draws this cartoon, and we're all singing in the choir,
I still have it.
and 6 of us are on the same page of the hymnal except for Tom. Tom's on the wrong page, or maybe on the right page, but it said singing from the same page, and Tom was the outlier.
I was,
You
yeah,
remember
I
that?
still have that.
This cartoonist used to draw cartoons
great.
all the time.
Yeah.
But I have that one hanging on my wall.
That was a good one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you all.
Well, thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Look forward to working with you in the new year, so thank you.
All right, thanks,
I
Ron.
certainly appreciate it. As, when I came on commission, you were one of the first people that reached out to me to meet with you, and I've probably worked with you more than anybody with all of our work on Mylan Park, the Development Authority, MAP, you name it. So I appreciate that we're still going to be working with you. You'll just have you won't
Another-
be officially representative of you, but again, even when it's like what we talked about on the radio last week. We may not have a hand in it. The commission does a lot of things that we don't actually have any authority to do. And I don't mean that we do things that we don't have authority to do. We get in subject matters that we really don't have a dog in the fight. But we'll, for the good of the community, we'll be in those conversations so that we can bring partners together. And that's the way Ron is. You know, with a lot of issues that W may not even have a dog in the fight, but they're in the conversation to really bring people together. This East End project, East End Development Project is a perfect example. When we first started that project 4 or 5 years ago, when the city, W, and the Development Authority, which we funded, all came together to carry the interest on that. You know, W was in a different place than it is today. But as we go forward down the road, you know, the W didn't have the financial capability to really, you know, drive that project, but you're still in the middle of the conversation and still a third of the partner and still helping pull the parties together, you know, and sometimes you just got to take strong-willed individuals and have those conversations, you know, where you just have an understanding, and then bring them together for the common good. And that's what Ron does a lot, is just, you know, things where he doesn't even have a dog in a fight. He sees a benefit to be part of the conversation and help bring people together, and that's what you do the best. So I really appreciate all your work. Okay, so absent anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Goodbye, 2024.
Yep.